Well, hello! This is Dualism Total Nerdery channel, and we are finally back to look at the ship I am building right now, which is this transport ship, you know. I haven't came up with a name for it yet. Whoops. So if you have a great name for it, you should totally tell me about it, because we of course need to name this one. So it's basically done, with some exceptions. I'm not totally happy about the interior design actually. I made a regular airplane type of design, but there were some great suggestions with using like tables facing the windows, and I thought maybe one could make a restaurant version or something like that. Then I'd like to have some more colors on the ship, which I haven't added yet. Oh god. So anyways, without the colors it looks a bit plain, but I thought that maybe if I put some colors on, I will remove some of the details in the hull, because otherwise it might be too much basically. But we should take a tour of this ship's function and how it looks like basically. So we start in the cockpit. We'll look at the functions more. We have some manual access for controls here, but they don't say what they do really, which is a problem, because I can't have text popping up from underneath, and making it coming from the side will disturb the design a lot. So I'm not really sure how to solve that yet. But well, this is the cockpit, kind of. Here you can sit and steer so far, kind of like that. We have an extra pilot here on the side and another one here. We also have the faction module and stuff. Oh, now this display module don't have any text in it yet. That's fine. And these don't say what they do. But this is the lights, and this is that. This is like the blue lights. And of course we have the force field, which is you know, you can't, even if you're factioned, you can't disable them all at the same time, so it adds an extra layer of safety. This is neat. Here we have the docker, and we can change the type of docker we are docking with, using unload, load, regular, and no docking ability as our input thing. Well, now let's see here. We need to get into gravity, because, well, gravity is automatic by the way, but here we anyways we have a little medical cabinet, of course, and we have the general cabin where we have the seats. We also have a simple transporter, so you can transport directly into here, and we have seats for flight attendants to sit here basically. Otherwise we have the regular seatings, you know, just like this, kind of standard flight a little bit. So the cabin is, you know, like this, and we have also a light switch for the entire cabin and the inside of the cockpit, because we of course don't need that. So then you can see the lights better. Of course the flight lights are blue, and they are always active when we're flying. Right. And if we get out of the craft, I will not have the lights on though, because when you're docking and stuff, We have a fancy pop-out door. I fixed so the door doesn't jam anymore, and I fixed that by setting different speeds, so it basically goes slower when it goes in like this. Anyways, if I hover out, I'm automatically out of gravity. And you already saw the ship from the outside, so that is how it looks like. Now, if we land on a planet surface, we might want to have a walkway, and we have a simple Plex walkway here, accessible through the button underneath, so you can walk up. You can also disable that from inside of the ship. Otherwise than that, we have the automatic gravity, and of course you can access the gravity if you want, and the flush door like this. Right. Here we not only have opportunities to check who's getting on board and stuff from this little computer terminal here. We also have access to... Now let's see, something I forgot to label. This is probably... well, that's probably the ramp. Well, we can get in here as well if we are faction, if we can, our faction and can access this. We can from here get into the machine room. Here we have the antenna. We have the shield generator central, and we have some rail workings, as well as of course the energy. This is the energy core. Now the power streams remove themselves as usual when you restart the game, so that's a bug they have to fix sometime. Other than that, this is that basically. If we turn on this little thing here, you can see we have storage mainly right here. So we have quite a lot of storage, or stash. Yep. Right, that's the maintenance room here. You can access the reactor, I guess. And then we have some extra terminals here and some reading things, and you can see into the reactor a little bit here. See some tech stuff. Otherwise we have the ramp to go up through here, back to the cabin. This is basically some safety, If we turn this off, this will always be visible when it's dark. So that's nice. And we finally get back in here, which is the cabin, or the cockpit basically. So, here we have some funny thing. We have a little HUD display here. And it's actually pretty fun. Because it does a lot of things, or not a lot of things. It tells us a little information. We have an engine option, which starts the engines in 3 little blobs like this, blop blop blop. So it's basically starts from below and upwards, starting the engine. And then we have a control for the door here. We also have lights connected to the rail that tells us when the door is open and when the door is closing. Oh, interesting. It seems that the game bugs up when I'm recording. Alright, that's interesting. Alright, now, right. It tells when it's closing anyways by a timer, and tells when it's open. Then we have a pretty funny thing. We have something called shutters. And this is a little safety equipment for deflecting some asteroids and stuff. So I made this little, safety catch net, or how to say, basically a little frame Doesn't obstruct our view very much, but it still gives us some collision protection, which is nice. So we can just turn that off, of course. And of course, it's animated. Oh, no, now I pressed 2 times. I don't know. I don't know if it's a cool feature, but it's there. Also, I love the underside of this ship. So many cool, you know, tubes and connections, and, you know, looking a bit techy. Then next up, we have, of course, the glorious antenna, which is a main feature of this ship. Yep, we have a pop-outable antenna that doesn't, you know, so we can land everywhere without antenna disturbing. So it looks pretty nice. Having a little blinking antenna like this retractable is, of course, a necessity for any ship, and it fits flush and nice. Also, I like the design of the antenna. Shoop. Well, after the antenna, we have, of course, we have the cycle dock type. So we can cycle to load rail, unload rail, regular rail, and no docking allowed, because nothing fits there. What? Then I have an activation module. Oh. Alright, we don't have a ramp. Well, that means that this button inside of the door is indeed a ramp. So basically, oh yeah, I wanted to show you another thing which I almost forgot now. You see the antenna control here? We actually have a little thing that tells us when the antenna is fully deployed and when the antenna is fully undeployed. So you can see it on the HUD very easily. Very convenient. And it basically does that because I hooked up screens which contain the same thing but on or off. So we basically can change that by retracting or popping out the antenna. And yeah, basically like that. We have the Bobby AI here because I thought it looked very cool to have in one of those holes I designed earlier. And it's accessible from here. Not the best place, but still works, and it looks cool. On the other side, I just have some, you know, ventilation and very ambient blue lightnings. Care about the small details. We have a kind of roleplay camera for steering here, which is of course not the best views, but it looks better for roleplay purposes. Then we have the creepy magic camera that's just magic, and the cockpit, which is, you know, not that bad actually. So yeah, system wise, you already know this, but you know, when we build the power, we let it have automatically charging jump drives in 4 jumps. We of course have a scanner, nothing special about it. Yeah, we also have a top speed. If you look here, we have the maximum top speed and also the maximum top speed of the reactor. So we have the maximum top speed of the game. Now, there are some different things I want to make in future with this ship, basically. So there is like a lot of things to think about, I guess. One thing is, oh, we have a simple laser, by the way. Maybe I, you know, want to see that. It's just a simple defensive laser, continuous fire kind of, nice and red. So, what I'm going to do with this? Well, I'm going to upload kind of this version on the workshop very soon. However, some features, I wanted to add some more features. That is a start up button, basically so that the engines, by the way, the engines glow a little bit also. They glow red when, or yellow when going somewhere without, you know, except the regular nice red glow. Yeah, so I wanted to make some things more to this ship. One thing is to block the access to the core if the engines are, you know, if the engines are on, the core access is accessible, but if the engine's light is off, the core access is not accessible, basically. So you need to turn on that button, basically. Another thing I'd like to add, but not sure I can do, is to, on the onboard display, add the current version of the dock, so you know what type of docking capability you have. Yeah, so you can switch between load rail or unload rail, but yeah, that requires something to dock to this ship, which might not be super common. You know, when you're actually docked to something, it is their ship's dock load or unload rail that actually matters. So that's the thing. Then another thing I need to figure out, I don't know if this, you know, connection works anymore. You know, I don't really know how. I think maybe I understood how rails used to work, but because they added unload and load rail, I'm not sure how to load and unload cargo anymore. I thought the old solution was really good, but you know, I want to get into the new solution and see what it means, basically, because I haven't played survival in a while, because of obvious reasons. So I hadn't had a reason to use that. This is a bit unfortunate because, of course, my tutorials on how to build mining drones and stuff like that is still getting a lot of views, but of course it uses the old system. Anyways, you can see that these things that used to connect stuff disappeared. So what we need to do is, oh no, kind of remove a block and just put them back. Yeah, now we have the energy streams here. I don't know why they disappear all the time. Blame StarMade. It's just, they just do. But power seems to be working, so I don't know if it's a good thing that they disappear in terms of evil opting of the game. You know, update the game and you don't have to have that power stream exposed, maybe. I guess that feature or bug will disappear sometime, dependent if you can use it. I don't know. I don't know if it's only invisible or actually not exists. Also, this little radiator design is very cool with the tubes here, I think, don't you? Well, yeah, but anyways, I'd like to add something to block the access to the core, and I really want to play around with the other ideas of cabins. You know, there was some great idea about having seats facing the windows, and I thought maybe one could make a restaurant version or something with that, or could make some, you know, really cool version of this ship actually. I don't know, say, tell me what you think in the comments of things that should be added to this ship, and features of this ship you want to see removed, so, you know, you can help and develop the final form of this ship. And well, please do so. Be my guest. Also join the Discord if you want to talk with some other StarMade interested people and stuff like that. And yeah, I guess that's that. You can give me some great tips on improving the exterior design. I thought about changing this green color some time before. Maybe you also think that. And you know, basically anything. And I will take a look at it, and I will also work some on paintings. But if you have any painting ideas, you know, tell them to me as well. Anyways, I guess that's that for this time, and this will conclude this little mini-series about this Power 2.0 power ship. And before I forget, if you start asking, this is how I made a sign. Here we have very long spaces, and here we have just lines, and here we have space, you know, ship ID, name, in sector, speed, and the antenna office custom, and mass we have there as well. And you know, if you want to know how to do that, you can look at the ultimate text block, text screen tutorial I made a while ago, which is still completely valid, except of course like shield capacity commands and stuff like that. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. This is Jumadism, Total Nerdery Channel, signing out.